Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show for Friday, November the 6th, 2015. Welcome to another eBay discussion video for the week. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Joe DeMarco. I'm a long-time eBay seller since 1999. I'm a top-rated seller. My feedback is 9,856, quickly approaching 10,000. And my eBay Motors ID is Hubcap Joe's in case you want to check me out. And each week we get together and we discuss selling on eBay and how we can help each other, and we discuss problems that arise in the community. And this week we have a lot to discuss, including Glitch Week 2015, a sales poll, urban legends involving a brick, guest returns, the big sweep, and many, many other topics. So let's get started. As always, I'm going to discuss your comments in last week's video first, if I may. Basically, I got quite a bit of comments last week, and the first topic I'd like to tackle is that one bad seller who didn't send me my items, and I had asked you guys whether or not I should neg them. 90% said neg the guy, 10% said do not neg the guy. I have not negged the guy. Now, some of you guys suggested I don't neg them because you're afraid of retaliatory feedback. That, while that could be a problem, that's not so much a problem anymore like it was with the old eBay, if you guys remember that. So at this point, I have not negged the guy, and I really don't think I'm going to. I'm going to move on. Somebody suggested I leave him a false positive. I don't think I'm going to do that because he does not deserve a green dot, no matter what it says. I also talked about Markdown Manager, how I was having problems with that. And a bunch of you guys also wrote in and said you had had problems with Markdown Manager. I found a workaround that solved my problem because I posted it in one of the Facebook groups. And one of my friends told me a workaround, how to make it work, and it did solve the problem. But we'll get back to that in a little later when we talk about the glitches. Also, I was telling you about returns last week with guest accounts. There's a problem I've encountered regarding guest accounts. This week I've had 2 more guest accounts buy stuff from me and want to return. In fact, one guy bought the item and wanted to cancel. And what he did was he called me directly. I'm not so sure how he even got my number, but he called me directly and said, I want to cancel. And I suspected he would because it was what he bought was questionable. I said, I bet he bought the wrong item. I usually have a sixth sense for that kind of thing. I can tell when somebody buys an item that's not popular and I have a feeling it's going to come back. Well, that's what happened with this particular person. He bought an item and I said, I will bet my reputation that he returns it. But what he did was he contacted me on the phone within 10 minutes and said, I want to cancel it. I bought the wrong item. I said, well, that's fine. I said, but we're not doing this cancellation on the phone. We're doing everything through eBay. That's how it's got to be done. And the problem is, these folks with the guest accounts never seem to be able to log into their guest account. So when I sent this guy the cancellation notice 2 minutes later, he was unable to sign in and accept the cancellation to resolve the issue. So he had to actually call eBay and get them to sort it out. It has been sorted out, but still, I really think they need to fine-tune the guest accounts a little bit more so that at least they're able to communicate. Not leave feedback, communicate with their sellers and with eBay. Somebody had written in last week and asked how to find out their mobile percentage. The easiest way, if you have an eBay store, and most of you probably do, is to check your quarterly eBay seller newsletter. You can find it in your My eBay messages. They send it to everybody who's got an eBay store. So that's the easiest way, and it tells you right in there what your mobile percentage is. Another interesting comment was a person who wrote in about the China sellers last week. He said that he had purchased an item from China, and I think the shipping time was 1 week. After a week, he doesn't have any item, and no tracking was uploaded, and he checked, and eBay had extended the time 3 weeks to accommodate the China seller. And this person was livid, and quite frankly, I wouldn't blame him a bit. You know how I feel about the China sellers being catered to. I'm dead set against it. I have never seen eBay change the time for a China seller. I'm just relating to you what this particular subscriber told me. If it did happen, I think it's totally wrong. It shouldn't be allowed. It's time to stop catering to the China sellers. You guys all know how I feel about them. Another interesting comment from last week's video was somebody who wrote in and said eBay does not assist new sellers enough to be successful. For any of you guys, whether you're a new seller or a seasoned seller or any kind of seller, top-rated seller, small seller, any seller except a fishy seller. We don't want fishy sellers. But for any kind of seller, I suggest you join some of the Facebook groups. They can provide a wealth of knowledge. If you encounter a problem, all you have to do is post your problem in the group and somebody will respond to it. And normally you'll have an answer within, at the latest, maybe an hour. I mean, I highly suggest them. As I've told you in the past, guys, some of the groups are public. You can do a search through Facebook. Some of them are private. The private ones, in my opinion, are the ones that have just a wealth of knowledge because they are made private to keep out the fishy sellers, to keep out the bad people. All right? So you'll probably have to get approved to get into one of those groups. If you're a person who I know personally and you want to get approved, I'll be more than happy to get you in. Email me at the number on the board there, at the address crazynydriver@aol.com. And if you're somebody I don't know, I'm going to ask to know a few things about you, like your eBay store and a few other things. But I'm highly supportive of the Facebook groups. They provide a wealth of information. I have seen some people comment that they're dissatisfied with eBay and they feel that a lot of eBay buyers and sellers are leaving eBay and going to Etsy and Amazon. And I gotta tell you, I totally disagree with that line of thinking, and I'm going to tell you why. Yes, there have been some big hurdles this week, some glitches, and we'll talk about them later. But the majority of sellers, like people like myself, could never sell used auto parts on Amazon or Etsy. It's not the right forum for it. And you guys with collectibles, you're more or less in the same boat too. Now, if you're selling artsy and craftsy stuff, Etsy's a great place. All right? Go on to Etsy. You'll never find a hub. You'll find plenty of hubcap clocks on Etsy, but they're useless to me. You know? And for Amazon, if you're selling books or CDs or electronics that are new in box, it's great. You'll move product. You won't make as much in profit as you will on eBay, but you'll move some product. But you cannot sell your used items freely on Amazon. So therefore, I do not feel that people are leaving eBay in droves, both buyers and sellers. I totally disagree. I think the problem why our sales were really slow has to do with search, and we'll get into that in a second or two. I also received some positive comments on the link I dropped into last week's video regarding the 10 worst internet trolls that were exposed on live television. Oh my God, what an embarrassment those people are. How miserable their lives must be like to be like that. Just to sit in that apartment all day and do nothing. Ugh. Man, that's scary. Now, let us move on to today's topics, eBay related. Glitches. This is the big topic of the week. There were quite a few glitches starting last Thursday night, which I reported to you on Friday. While people can now, for the most part, sign into eBay and PayPal with no problem, glitches are still occurring on eBay. Not to the huge extent they were last week, but they're still occurring. Let me tell you some of the glitches that I've encountered. Shipment details, my tracking numbers are not showing. If I go into my selling, and I want you guys to do this, go into your My eBay, click on selling, and pick any tracking number you shipped in the last few days, click on it, and see if it appears. I tried it earlier, and none of them were appearing. Yet they were the other day. So it might be a back and forth type glitch. I also encountered a glitch. It happened the other day. It happened, I believe, Tuesday, printing labels, whereas I was unable to print labels, which is a rare occurrence for me. But that has since been resolved, but still, it is an ongoing glitch. I have experienced glitches with selling similar, as you probably know. A lot of you guys have experienced that too. Usually it helps if you go back one and then start again. That usually resolves it. Why are these glitches happening? What is causing them? Guys, I don't know. I'm not a code slinger. I'm just a regular guy like you guys. What is the fix, or what should eBay do? Well, guys, again, I don't know what the root of the problem is. I really don't understand it. It's beyond my area of expertise, beyond my scope. I sure hope that it gets resolved really soon. I think this is really important. I was on one of the Facebook groups the other night, and there were some people that were really going ballistic, that they were pissed off about these glitches, some eBay sellers. And I do totally understand them, and I do feel their pain. Hey, I don't like the glitches either. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping this gets resolved. I read a comment by one of the admins in one of the Facebook groups that said, well, we don't want to hear too much negative talk about these glitches. You know, we don't want to hear any hater comments. And I don't like hater comments myself as far as that's concerned, but I do believe in an open forum. So you guys are welcome to comment on the glitches and how you feel about them and how you think they could be resolved. Because maybe one of you guys has the answer. I'm sure hoping to get resolved soon, because my sales have been extremely slow this week. Which leads me into the next topic, the sales poll. On one of the Facebook groups, a poll was conducted the other day. How were your sales this weekend? All right? The top rated answer was not great. And that's what I voted, not great. Then I think the next plateau was okay, decent. Then there were some that were very good. And then lastly, there was some that voted 0, meaning they had no sales at all. But more people than any were saying their sales were not great. And I agree, sales were not great. My busiest day this week netted 3 sales. Usually, 3 sales is my slowest day of the week. So something is definitely wrong, folks. No, people are not migrating away from eBay. Please do not ascribe to that theory. I do not feel that to be the case. If you want to buy used stuff, you want to buy collectibles, you're going to go to eBay. All right? And I believe people are still going to eBay. But I think there's something wrong with search. That's my theory and my hypothesis only. Next, I want to talk about an urban legend. Fishy sellers who buy an expensive item and return a brick in its place. Now, I'm sure almost all of you guys have heard this story. And this was brought up in one of the Facebook groups on Wednesday. Somebody recounted this exact story. And it was counted by Griff, who said, has this ever happened to you? Have any of you guys ever sent an item out and received something back other than what you sent? For example, a brick in place of an iPhone. So I want to pose that question to you guys right now. To all of you, every one of you. Have you ever sent an item out, had a fishy seller do a return, and send something back other than the item you sent him? If so, I implore you to tell your story below. I want to hear it. I have been selling on eBay since 1999. It has never happened to me. I have never received anything back other than what I sent them, with the possible exception of a guy who broke the items one time. A real, I have to use the word lummox, because there's no other word for somebody like this. He bought 4 centers for alloy wheels. With alloy wheels, you have to use the correct center and nothing else. They're specialized. I had the exact product fitment there listed. This guy goes and buys the wrong items. All right, I accept that. He returns them. But what this guy did was he tried to force them on to a wheel they won't fit. So bang, he tried to force number 1 on, it broke. Instead of stopping, he continued on ahead and broke a second one. So he sent me back 2 broken ones and 2 good ones, and I didn't know it, because when the box came back, I just went ahead and gave him a refund. I had no reason to believe that he would force them on like that. So the box sat in my office for almost 2 weeks. By the time I opened the box and saw them broken, he already had his refund. It was too late to do anything. So my question to you guys, please answer it. Have you ever sent an item out and received something back other than what you sent him? Whether it was a brick, or whether it was your same item with parts removed, or whether it was your item broken. I'd like to hear that too. Next item. The big sweeps. eBay is having a contest called the Big Sweeps, and what it is anytime you print a label for priority mail through eBay, you can get your tracking number entered into the contest. However, it's not automatically entered. You have to physically do it. So what you do is, if you're printing out some priority labels tonight, you print them out as usual, then go back to your My eBay selling, copy and paste those labels into a site, which I'm going to have a link below. All right? You have to register on the site with your eBay user ID and password, of course. So what you'll do is you'll then enter the tracking number, bang, you'll click enter, and that's one entry. But then if you want to enter a second one, you have to actually sign in all over again. It's a very tedious process. I'm going to tell you right now. I did some last night. But you do stand the chance to win a free Anchor store, which is the top of the line eBay store. I believe it's for a year. Don't quote me. I don't have the paperwork in front of me. Plus, there's a lot of good runner-up prizes. If you guys are printing your labels through eBay, and most of you are, guys, it's like chicken soup. It can't hide. Enter the contest. But keep in mind, it works for priority mail only. It does not work for first-class mail. Okay? Somebody had mentioned in last week's comments they would like me to do more Google Hangouts. I'm not opposed to that, but I'm telling you, in my experience, those Google Hangouts are fraught with technical problems. I know I had some last time, if you remember. But if any of you guys would be interested in doing a Google Hangout, if they would fine-tune it and make it so bug-free, I would love to do them. I've seen some other people do them, and for the most part they work pretty good, but they don't always function as they should. So if you guys have any opinions on that, comment below. And I see I've taken up enough of your time already. So let's do a little quick review here, if I may. Guys, number one, let's talk about the glitches. How has it affected your eBay sales this last week, from let's say last Thursday till right now? Mine have been very slow, unusually slow, with a maximum of 3 sales on the highest day. I'd like to know the amount of your sales. Has it affected you or hasn't it? Please comment below. Do you still think that eBay is the best place to sell? Because I still do. Even though they're having these glitches, and I sure hope they rectify them soon, I am not throwing in the towel. I am not going to cry wolf. I am not going to panic. I'm staying. Crazy New York driver is staying, and Crazy New York driver is sure that this will be overcome. What are your thoughts? Also, please answer some of the questions I asked you earlier in the video. Did you ever have a bogus return from a fishy seller where he sent you something other than what you sent him? Please describe it below. If you have any other eBay comments or questions, you're more than welcome to leave them. I'm Crazy New York Driver. You're not. Thanks for watching. I will see you next Friday right here in this spot for the Crazy New York Driver Show. Thanks for watching. Rock on.